Hello and welcome to another Pioneer video. I'm Tandy, and today we're going to be playing my take on Boros Pia, and I'm calling it Runaway Pia. Um, what this deck does is that it uses PNLR Console Revival to generate a bunch of Thopters by playing cards from exile. The things that you cast that lets you play cards from exile include Rend Resolve, 2 mana, exile the top 2 cards, and until an turn you may play them. But it also includes Reckless Impulse, which is essentially just the exact same thing as Ren's Resolve. 2 mana, reveal the top 2. You can play them until the end of the next turn. So essentially what these impulse effects do, right, is they give you incentive to essentially play things kind of with reckless abandon. You want to just play anything you find as aggressively and as quickly as you can find because they're only around for basically one full turn cycle. These cards essentially act like an expressive iteration, but you don't get to like hold on to reactive cards like counter spells or things like that. So you want to pair them with cheap creatures, cheap burn spells, cheap removal effects. And when you do that, you essentially get what I've been referring to lately as torque. And the reason why we call it torque is because torque essentially is just the force that you place on an object. And the way that engines and magic work is that many of those engines get jump started by normal game actions. And whenever you find a card like Pia Nalar, where you get paid off for just making normal game actions, think of like Young Pyromancer or Third Path Iconoclast. Pia Nalar is very similar to those effects, but the type of card draw effect that you want to play with Pia Nalar is just slightly different than the card draw effects you'd play with the others. And we're playing, of course, the 8 impulses, right? The Rend Resolve and the Reckless Impulses, and we're using those with Pia to generate Thopters, but we're also using them to gain card advantage. And normally, when you play a card draw effect, you're sacrificing mana and most of your turn, if not all of your turn, to generate extra resources. And if you don't have a permanent in play, like a prowess creature, like a Pianalar, to actually give you an extra benefit from casting those spells, I like to say that you're spinning your wheels and you actually gain traction when you have a card like Pinalar, Young Pyromancer, or whatever, to reward you for taking those normal game actions. And that's torque, being rewarded for taking natural game actions. So the way that we are building this deck is with 8 prowess creatures, a Monster Swiftspear and Soulscar Mage. These 2 creatures are extremely aggressive and really reward you for being low to the ground and playing a bunch of cheap spells. We have Chain to the Rocks with 11 mountains to help out against things like Mono Green Devotion, taking away one of those Old Growth Trolls or Pelucranoses or even Cavalier of Thorns so that you can actually attack for large chunks of damage is huge in that matchup. And I actually think it makes the matchup pretty good. Last but not least, as far as the threats are concerned, we're playing Kamano Faces Kakazin, a non-creature that essentially acts like a creature that buffs your Soulscar Mage, puts some counters on your prowess creatures or whatever. Very good card in general. Leans into the really aggressive burn package type deal that we're doing early on. The interesting part of the deck, the newer part of the deck rather, is going to be Runaway Steamkin. For 2 mana, you get a 1/1. Not really that good, right? But whenever you play a red spell, it gets a +1/+1 counter, and then you can remove 3 +1/+1 counters from it to make 3 mana. And what this does essentially is that it turns cards like Reckless Impulse and the Rend Resolve into engines for both mana and cards. This is another type of torque, but this is a way for you to essentially keep the train rolling along. Runaway Steamkin, it's pretty weak against decks with Fatal Push or Stomp like your Bone Crusher Giants. And we've actually removed Bone Crusher Giant. I'll talk about why in just a minute. But Runaway Steamkin is essentially just a nice little 2-drop payoff, very similar to Pia, but instead of generating board presence, it generates mana. So it kind of functions more similarly to a combo deck than it does to an aggro deck. The Runaway Steamkins, I like to think of them as an ace in the hole against a very specific type of deck in Pioneer, which is a linear deck that is non-interactive or has very little interaction. Mono Green Devotion, Mono White Humans, these are decks that essentially don't attack your creatures very aggressively or much at all. and you're able to essentially leverage Runaway Steamkin's ability with impunity. Your opponent is just not interacting with you, so if you play Runaway Steamkin on 2, chances are on turn 3 you're going to go balls to the wall. Another really neat interaction is with one of the marquee cards of the deck, Showdown of the Scalds. So Showdown of the Scalds, 4 mana, you exile the top 4 cards until of your deck. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. This is a great way to turn on Pia Nalar, but chapter 2 and 3 is actually where the super ridiculous stuff starts to come into play. So whenever you cast any spell this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. If you notice, Steamkin matters about +1/+1 counters, and so essentially, instead of playing 3 spells to get 3 mana, you have to play 1.5 spells to gain 3 mana. So every iteration that you're going with the showdowns, with the reckless impulses, you actually can put counters on the Runaway Steamkin and generate mana more quickly. So that allows you to essentially choose, do you want board presence or do you want more mana? And depending on the situation, you actually get to choose based on Showdown of the Scalds or whatever. That's honestly one of the coolest things I found when playing the deck, with Showdown putting counters on Steamkin. I think the deck works really well together. This build has moved away from Bone Crusher Giant because of how inefficient Bone Crusher Giant is on both sides. This deck isn't like a traditional aggro deck. We're not low on resources essentially ever. In fact, I would say that we're actually resource flooded more often than not, because we are forced, if not incentivized, to cast as many Reckless Impulse and Rend Resolves as we can, because when you play a Rend Resolve and you find another version of the same card, you need to play that same card again to keep the chain going, to make sure that you have enough juice for the rest of the game. Showdown of the Scalds is essentially the maxed out top end version of that effect, but it has that sweet payoff on chapter 2 and 3, where you just get to buff the crap out of all your creatures while you're playing all your stuff. This deck has been the talk of Pioneer for the last couple weeks. I've been really enjoying playing it, and I've been learning a lot about it. And one of the reasons why you don't play Bone Crusher Giant is because Bone Crusher Giant is great when you are playing a deck with a low amount of resources. If your goal is to lava spike your opponents, that type of message or whatever is exactly the type of message the Bone Crusher Giant wants to send. Bone Crusher Giant is great when you're like mulliganing a bunch. It's great when you have a lot of mana sources like Llanowar Elves, because it allows you to essentially use all your mana every turn, no matter what, right? On turn 2, you can play it to shock something. On turn 3, you can play it as a 4/3. But in this deck, what I often found was that when you were chaining Rend Resolves and Impulses, you'd flip over that 3-drop Bone Crusher Giants or a 2-mana Stomp, and neither half would really be that good. And what ended up happening was that you would just like let it rot in exile, or you would sacrifice like a good amount of your turn, just like playing Stomp on an opposing person's face or creature or whatever, and it just didn't really look or feel that good. Um, the thing about those adventure creatures is that they're not really overpowered if you're only playing one of the 2 cards, right? They're only really incredible when you get to play both of them. And this deck doesn't really care about playing either half. So there it is. So that's the long and the short of it. That's why we're not playing Bone Crusher Giant. It's just inefficient on both halves. It's obviously a great card. It's 4 of in many red decks, but I'm choosing not to play it in my red deck. And that's why. Our sideboard consists of 2 Wedding Announcement to help out against Rakdos or other attrition matchups. This is a pretty common sideboard card for white decks against those decks that have Fatal Push. 2 copies of Rydane. Front half good against combo and control. Back half good against Rakdos Sacrifice. Invasion of Gobakon, great against the slow mid-range and control and combo decks. Declaration Stone, excellent against Monogreen Devotion, other decks with large creatures. 1 Strangle to act as just like a generic removal spell whenever I need to get a weak card out of my deck. I like to board out Runaway Steamkin quite a bit whenever my opponent has Fatal Push and or Stomp. 3 copies of Rending Volley. This is mostly for Greasefang, but it's excellent against Spirits and White Weenie. 2 copies of Tormod's Crypt, almost explicitly for Greasefang, but can come in against things like Arclight Phoenix if you really need them. And then we are a Giganta deck because of our mana costs. So this is Runaway Pia. Let's play a league. All right, opener is pretty solid. We'll keep. Hopefully our Runaway Steamkin survives. I'm going to start with Soulscar Mage. I like to start with Soulscar Mage in general. The 1 damage doesn't matter to me a ton in most of the sequencing. but being able to play a browse creature into a, you know, instant or sorcerer or whatever on the turn after you play, or on the turn where you play the Swift Spear, means that you just get more damage, right? Overall. We're just missing out on one to potentially get two later. Okay, so it looks like we're playing this Rakdos Sack. They went Thoughtseize on one with Gigantha as the reveal. They didn't play Fatal Push though, which is awesome for us. I'm gonna go ahead and play the Steamkin. Oh, there's some bad lag today, huh? I hope it's not too bad. And we're gonna need to draw, either in one of our Reckless Impulses or our Showdown of the Scalds at some point in the near future. Ideally, next turn we just draw any spell. Any spell next turn to play would be great. Tapped Blood Crypt. That's pretty good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play Needle Verge on white since we don't need the mana this turn, and we have plenty of red. But this is gonna pump our Prowess creatures and put a counter on our Steamkin. Now they could have Fatal Push for the Steamkin and just chose to play Thoughtseize first, you know? And if that's the case, that's fine. Like, we're still attacking for 4. We're still resolving a Ringe Resolve. And anything we find off of this, we can play next turn, unless it's like two very expensive things, like 2 showdowns. But we've essentially built our deck in such a way where we can use our mana every turn. And now, even if they play Mayhem Devil or something, not a big deal. No one's playing Sweepers on 3 mana here most of the time. So now we get to go. So let's start with. Oh, they're just dead. Okay, so we'll go. Reckless, and we'll see if we need to use the Steamkin, but we'll just go shock the Goblin Shaman attack for 10. We don't need to use the Steamkin's ability because we just have lethal. We hit some lands off of it, so this could have been a pretty weak turn, but even our weak turn was remove counters from Steamkin to buy Gigantha. So right. We're gonna bring in the Strangle and the Ridanes, and I'm thinking about maybe bringing in Weddings. And then I like trimming the Steamkins. I know it looked okay there, and I know that we're playing Steamkin, but my general theory is that if my opponent has Fatal Push or similar, Runaway Steamkin's pretty weak, so I like cutting it. I don't want to cut all the Kamanos, so I probably will just sideboard more lightly. We can probably trim a couple Play with Fires. I think Strangle and Changelocks are good because they handle Mayhem Devil, and some Play with Fire is fine because it kills the token. But overall, I think something like this is okay. If you didn't want to board in the wedding announcements, I wouldn't blame you. All right, this hand looks pretty great. God forbid they claim a Steamkin and use it for mana. It seems very hard because if they steal it and I can make mana, I would probably have already made mana. Hey, Tandy, what about Fire Impulse? There are some builds we've been talking about on Twitter clans. If you want to go check out my Twitter, I've been posting and retweeting a bunch about the deck, and one of the builds has Mentor, Springleaf Drum, Fire Impulse, and I think that build's kind of cool. All right, so we'll lead off with Kamano so we can get a counter on our Soul Scar, and then on 2 we'll go probably another Kamano. The Kamano is also nice because it means that like they don't necessarily have an easy target for removal here, like Claim the Firstborn or whatever. So we can kind of get a threat down that's not vulnerable to removal early. You just saw the Strangle? Yeah, we got one Strangle on the board. Thanks, Knuckleblade. I'm glad you like them. I'm glad you like the deck. Deck's really cool. All right, so Chain's never going to take anything of note. So it's basically just going to be a removal spell for Mayhem Devil in like 2 turns. So we'll start with Soul Scar and then play a Kamano, and then we'll make a Rydane next turn maybe. But I might go Pia plus Chain and then save Rydane for the backside. That's really where the money is, honestly. But yeah, next turn we can go Pia Chain to the Rocks. And then if we draw the 4th land, we can play Valmira on the backside of Rydane. If they don't play anything, I want to Chain to the Rocks. Like if they don't play Mayhem Devil next turn, I might just play Rydane as a 3/4. All right, so claim this, attack for a little bit, sack the Witch's Oven. Not that big a deal. We'll take a little bit of damage. They only got 1 card in hand, so they have a pretty heavy incentive to sack the Lucky Witness to the Witch's Oven at some point in the near future. Getting 2 food tokens from sacking my thing's pretty sad. All right, so another Chain to the Rocks. Not the best. All right, I kind of do want to play the Raiden here. Maybe that's bad because the Valkyrie is so strong, but let's just play Pia. 3/4 Pia and a 3/4 Raiden are similar in nature and urgency to kill. I don't feel the need to chain the unlucky witness, so I won't. Yeah, the Valkyrie is very tough for them for sure. All right, push on the Pia makes sense. Last card in hand is the Blood Crit. They can buy Gigantha. They have unlucky witness still, so they kind of have like a free impulse floating. We're gonna attack with both of these. All right, so Kamano's gonna flip. Let's hope we draw something cool. All right, so I'll just play Valkymira, I guess. And that'll protect us from most of their stuff. We have a chain for Gigantha, so we have a clear for it. We can buy our own Gigantha and push towards this later. But now none of their Mayhem Devils do anything. Their creatures don't really deal us much damage. The only thing they can really hurt me with is Cat Oven Drains, I think. All right, they found Claim and Deli Disputes. Let's see what they go for. Yeah, some people played Abbots early on. I've never personally been that interested in playing Abbot. It's always been relatively weak to me. All right, they drew the fifth land off of the Deli Dispute. They're going to play it tapped. Claim is gone forever. All right, that was a good draw because now we can play it and the Gigantha buy. Still attacking for 4. My guess is they'll probably kill one of these this turn. All right, so they're going to take 2. All right, buy Gigantha, play the Soulscar Mage. Hope we draw Showdown or Impulse or something similar in the next few draws. But we do have Chain to stop Gigantha, and Valkyrie protects us from Mayhem Devil, so we have most of their aggression checked. All right, I'm going to play my Gigantha instead of Chain. I think it's just a better use of my mana. And they're going to stack it to Witch's Oven no matter what to get 2 food. And so I just don't think there's that big of a reason to go after their Gigantha here. It only deals 4 to me too, so does backside of right hand stop Cat? I don't believe so. I'll read it. So Cat doesn't target, I don't think, but maybe it does. So they might have to pay 1 or whatever each time. But Cat Oven is life loss, not damage. I'll start with Reckless Impulse, and then we can double chain plus a 1-drop, maybe a land. All right, this should be game over. They can go up to 13, but we're going to be taking out both their blockers and attacking for a large amount of damage. They might have Fatal Push plus pay, but they won't be able to they won't be able to push as well, I don't think, because they only have the 1 treasure. All right, so exile those. All right. I guess they can push pay and gain 3 life if they have it. They've already played 2 fatal pushes though. It says 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I guess they can gain 6 up to whatever. Okay, so they do have push and food gain, but they are still taking 5, 8, 9, 10. So they're going to be at 3, and they're basically just going to be drowning in food activations for the next 2, 3 turns. Unless they find some sort of big sweeper or something. They can gain 9 next turn. I guess we're not technically out of the woods. They have enough to play. Let's see. I was thinking they had maybe enough to play a Mihawk Massacre for 4, but not 5. That's good news. Is Sack known to run a Braid in the side? Not to my knowledge, but even if they did, it would cost 3 and they wouldn't be killing my creatures, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, I mean, it is an artifact, not an enchantment, which is a little strange. But all right, they can go up to 6 and block here, take 3. Otherwise, they have to jump here and gain 3. It's a forced action. All right, Reckless Impulse, great draw. Very likely to kill our opponent here. And we found the play with fire. So that should make sure our Giganta gets in an message each. All right, we're here for round number 2 with Runaway Pia. We have another pretty decent looking opener. Removal, 1 drop. We're on the draw, so if our opponent plays, oh, they're playing a Karuga. Okay, so if their Karuga fires, we're probably going to lose. Temporary Lockdown's really strong. The Fire's enigmatic stuff is very difficult for me to beat. And I know when I was playing Boros Convoke, I had like serious issues playing against Karuga. The Pia Discord has been one, call the deck Pop Tart. The Pia Discord doesn't get to decide the deck names. People who run the websites decide the deck names, which I don't like. I mean, Goldfish still calls Lotus combo hidden strings or whatever. Like, it's just kind of silly if you ask me. It's like arbitrary, honestly. But all right, we'll play Steamkin. Hope we don't get locked down. Hope we don't get stomped. All right, no extra white. Anger of the Gods also problematic. We have ways to fight through it, but their deck doesn't give you time to rebuild, right? Their deck goes ballistic quickly with enigmatic fires, and there's just like nothing you can really do about it. Is the big issue. All right, let's hit a land. No lands, so we can play both those next turn. I'm gonna go ahead and play with fire, sculpt the top of my deck, do some extra damage, use my mana. Another showdown's probably not worth. I am gonna go for probably Steamkin Rend Resolve next turn, and then the turn after, maybe I'll go Impulse into Showdown, and then maybe go that route. But if they go Fire's Enigmatic or just Enigmatic, I'm just dead. Like now they just go get any 7-drop, right? And I just easily lose. Dragon Lord, Tarka, whatever. Traxa, draw 10. All right, I'm just going to concede. Like I said, I think this matchup's horrific. I do board in Rydane and the Invasions, and I cut Play with Fires. I think Chain to the Rocks is okay. They play, 3, 4, and 5 drops. You can exile with Chain, and the Play with Fire doesn't do anything to, because none of the builds right now are the best build. We're all just in the experimental stages. All right, so do we Impulse or do we Soulscar? I guess we Gobakon next turn with another Soulscar Mage active. And then we can trigger the Gobakon. This type of draw is why you really need to play Kumano in the deck. You need to have 1-mana things that are like threats that can trigger prowess and such. All right, so they're a blue away from being able to play Leyline Binding this turn. All right, let's play Invasion of Gobakon, and we'll get it flipped so our creatures get bigger and protect us from sweepers. We'll take like Leyline Binding, probably something like that if we need to. Or temporary lockdown, rather, if they have it. So they do have lockdown. They also have another white for it. So we'll take that for now. Their hand is Plains, Fable, Enigmatic, Binding Titan. I will attack the Invasion for 4. That'll transform this. These will get counters. And then we can use this to protect ourselves from the binding, but we need to draw a way to stop Enigmatic into a 7-drop, really. We'll save Chain if they go get a Traxa off of the Enigmatic. Then we might be able to kill them the turn where they attracts us. All right, so that just like doesn't block very well. They have the 4th land already rolled up. Let's Rend Resolve. We'll keep it wide open in case we hit a Chain off of it or want to play the Chain from hand. We had a couple lands. I guess we just let them Shaman. Let's play another Impulse for next turn and then set up like a big kill. Yo, thanks Broadside for the 17 months. Appreciate you, baby. So Boros Pioneer is off the table as well. Look, you can call it whatever you want. No one is going to stop you. All right, so they discard a Titan. So they can Enigmatic, sack Fable, go get a 4-drop. I don't think any of the 4-drops are that scary, especially with Chain to the Rocks coming. Sacred Foundry needs to be played next turn. We can play Sacred Foundry, play Reckless, look for more stuff. 15 damage is a hefty amount. I mean, she is a steampunk, right? Her whole microverse is steampunk, I think. We can sack Light Shield Array to protect ourselves from targeted removal. They're still 1 mana away from being able to play temporary lockdown. That was probably a reason to kill the Fable token because they could go land, attack, 5 mana lockdown. So maybe I should have just chained the token since they weren't going to get a 7-drop this turn anyway off Enigmatic. Miss out on some damage. Hexproof and Indestructible doesn't work against Lockdown, which is maybe the most infuriating thing imaginable. Speaking of the Invitational chat, make sure to check out our new sponsor, Apex Gaming. Apex Gaming is a company I've been working with a lot over the last year, doing commentary. Lately, I've been doing some social media work for them to try to promote their tournament series. And big shout out to them for officially sponsoring the stream. All right, Enigmatic Trigger. Let's see what they go get. Heliod. Okay, so that's going to get back a Fable. So the Sacred Foundry needs to be played. Oh, wow. What if I don't Reckless? What if I just go Chain Rydane? Are they dead if I go Chain Rydane? I think so. Maybe dead enough. Oh, but the Chain is going to get hit with the Lockdown next turn. They can go Lockdown, or they go Lockdown, get back Heliod. They can sack it to go get a 5-drop. No, because Rydane makes that. No, it does. It does fuck me. Okay, so I guess I just go for Reckless Impulse first. Maybe we just don't care about the Heliod. We just chill. We can still play Rydane, but we just don't have to play the Chain to the Rocks. Swiss Spirit, another Reckless. Okay, we'll do that next turn. I'm going to play Shockland. I'm going to play an attack for 8s. They want to chump, that's fine. This is a great draw, I think. All right, Soul Scars get bigger. Next turn we go Swiss Spear, Reckless, look for the kill with the Chain to the Rocks. So they can play Otawara, and that will allow them to play the Temporary Lockdown from Exile that costs 5. And that'll take care of this, leave me with just this. And then on my turn, I go Swiss Spear, Impulse, Chain to the Rocks, maybe another 1-mana thing, maybe another 2-mana thing. If I hit land 2-mana thing, we'll see. Wonder if Wear Tear should be a sideboard option. Probably not. I think. Okay, so this is from hand. This is a different one. So I just let this happen. No! Big raid from Aspiring Spike. Thank you so much. I saw you working on that mono black thing earlier, huh? How's that working out for you? Did you end up 5-0 in that last league? I left when you were 2-0. Wow, big shout out to Spike and his community. Keeps me entertained most days. You're liking the deck? Yeah. I mean, it's got Bowmaster in it, right? Okay, I guess there's no reason to Light Shield Array. Saccharate a player on Tolsimir? Oh, shit. I didn't even think about that. I should have. Good call. You were like half a second late on the suggestion. I don't have a disenchant, so that's just better than leaving it there. And now they sack this and go get Tolsimir and fuck me. Yeah. Big punts. Big punts. Now I'm probably going to lose. I don't think that I was in good shape anyway. They can still Binding for 1. No, they don't have Islands. If they do have Tolsimir, I'm just going to concede. I think they would have gained 3 life anyway up to 10, so maybe it was like too much anyway. Just bricking the Swiss Spear off. This matchup seems awful. Yeah, their deck is great against, like, I don't know, most aggro decks for some reason, even though they just, like, don't play things that matter. All right, Hall of Storm Giants could be a number of control decks. Our hand is decent against control. That makes it a lot better if it can resolve, obviously. Split Spirit coming down when they don't have removal is great. Yeah, Declaration in Stone is reasonable, but I don't think that it really fills the gap enough. I just think Chain of the Rocks is just too strong. All right, we'll start off with Pia here, see if they have a sensor or something. If they do, that's fine. I could play Rinse Resolve, but I like getting the pressure down first because that lets me go, like, next turn, I just get to attack with a Pia, right? Also, if they have Negate or Dovin's Veto, they can counter the Resolve. I'm going to maybe upkeep the Play with Fire and see if they counter it. Oh, they're the Lotus Field build. Okay. Interesting. They didn't discontinuity. All right, I don't think we want to play the Runaway Steamkin. So we'll go for Rinse Resolve and then probably Play with Fire. The Steamkin, obviously good in some spots, but I don't want to get hit with a Wrath effect next turn, if I can help it. Didn't find the land, but we did find Play with Fire. So we'll go for that. Next turn we can play Showdown, and even if it gets countered, we're still doing cool stuff. Bottom that Pia. Now we just got to expect sweeper effects basically for the rest of the game. But if they do play sweeper effect, the Showdown's going to be great, and we're essentially forced to play it. I guess we can maybe try to go for lethal somehow. If we draw another Swiss Spear, we can go like Swiss Spear Play with Fire instead of Showdown. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. It's not quite lethal. All All right, but we'll play the showdown even if they counterspell it. We have another showdown in hand. This will give us a Thopter and a Prowess trigger, so we're pushing them closer and closer to death. If they have a counterspell for it, whatever, you know. Oh, we don't have a haste creature. Oh, we do. We found a haste creature actually off of the showdown in Monastery Swisspear. So even if we do get Wrath, we can still kill them next turn thanks to the counters and the prowess. Yeah, exactly, Miguel. It's like a freaking knife through butter, hot knife through butter. It's so good. So they cast no spells and died. Exactly what I love from my blue-eyed opponents. We'll board out all of our Chain to the Rocks and maybe a couple Play with Fires. I don't mind trimming some Steamkins because they just kind of walk you into sweeper effects. I'll keep two, three Play with Fire, 2, 3 Steamkin, just kind of trim back. Try and go for Strict Proctor. You know, I actually had that in my sideboard guide and I just forgot. Is this an enters the battlefield? Oh my god. We're gonna get absolutely ruined by a Strict Proctor. This deck is going to explore too. I'm not really sure, Diesel. I could, if it's legal there, then yeah. But I don't have like a line on what's good in that format because I don't play on Arena very much. All right, we're gonna play this. We're gonna attack in hopes that they don't block. I'm most positive they're not gonna block because if I have shock, they just get obliterated. Because if they kept this hand, they 100% have a Lotus. You know, like next turn they're gonna play Lotus, and we're probably just gonna lose. But Strict Proctor is extremely annoying for our deck. And I definitely should have Strangle in my deck. And maybe some Raining Volleys too. I think I'll just cut the 3 Play with Fires for 2 Volley and a Strangle or something like that. Foretell. Okay, so they did Foretell instead. I didn't hit a land, hit a couple 2-drops, not ideal. We're gonna attack again. They have very little reason to block. I mean, I guess if they don't have the Lotus Field, they didn't play it last turn, so then maybe they just don't have it. So they're gonna block there and just let their thing die. Okay, so I'm just not gonna play anything. It's fine. That just means we're getting Wrath, I think, because they would block here. I think if they had a Lotus Field or something. Doomscar, yeah, it could be anything here. Probably Doomscar, but they could have Verdict as well. Doomscar is pretty cool in the deck because it allows you to foretell on 2, cast it on 3, and the deck has weird mana thanks to Thespian Stage and such. All right, land would be excellent because we can go Pia plus Runaway. Okay, I think I'm gonna go Runaway into Soulscar, and then next turn we might be able to do something really cool. What are your thoughts on the mentors that B Koa was playing? I've talked about it on Twitter a bunch. I'll say that I like Mentor, but I want fewer creatures in a Mentor deck most of the time. Springleaf Drum is very good with Mentor, but I wouldn't play Mentor without Springleaf Drum. All right, let's go for Invasion. I want to see what's up. They might have a counterspell for it. That's okay. All right, so Shark Typhooning for 0. That's a great sign. That means their hand is horrible. So we'll take Farewell. If they play Teferi, not a big deal. No, we take Teferi, we kill them next turn. They can't play anything next turn. No, let's just take the Farewell. Farewell gets around the thing. Now it just costs 8 instead of 6. And then we'll deal 1 to face. And then I'll hit the Invasion for 3 and face for 3. Transform this. This will put a counter on our Runaway as well. So we can start next turn by casting Showdown. And if they don't have Godin's Veto or a 2-mana counterspell, then they just get clowned. All right, here we go. What about Jamocha? I mean, it's a big guy. We can probably punch through it, but I think that this is more beatable than a Farewell. Neither is that great for us. Taking Teferi was maybe better. I'm very surprised that they actually have the Dramoka. But Showdown of the Scalds can punch through Jamocha, and I'm trying to go fucking bananas, right? What are they playing? Did they really draw Lockdown? Doomscar? Okay, we'll sack this to protect. That's right, they had one more foretell card I forgot about. Alright, we might be able to kill them this turn. Showdown plus Pia is a potentially lot of damage with Steamkin. They drew Lotus Field, so next turn they can play Dramoka. So right now we have 6 damage. Alright, I'm just gonna go for it. See if we can get the Steamkin going. We're short of lethal right now, so might as well, right? Alright, so we'll go... Actually, let's just go Pia. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we'll go Pia into land. Since it's unlikely we'll be able to get the Steamkin off or do anything relevant with it. And we'll get a Thopter off of the land play. And then next turn we can have Resolve. So we'll attack for 7. Put them to 2. They play Dramoka and block. They go up to 7. They block here. They still take lethal from everything else. So Dramoka's not going to save them. Whereas this Farewell probably would have saved them, right? And I guess they could literally draw another Farewell. This comes in on tap because of this. Let's see, Wrath effect of any kind is probably pretty strong. You do have this to kill them though, I guess. Steamkin activation? Oh yeah, feels good. They can't even play the Dragon Lord Dramoka, or they can. They can barely play Dragon Lord Dramoka with their mana. Alright, so they're gonna gain 5 up to 7. They take 2, 3. Yeah, they're dead as long as I keep my Steamkin as a 4/4. 3, 4, 5, 6. This commander flips as well, so I'm not gonna. We can like spam it or whatever. I think they're. Oh, sorry, things are getting buffed. Maybe I'll just do it for funsies to show y'all what all can do. But this triggering and targeting Runaway Seamkin can be really sick. I had that come up a few times. All right, another Pia and a land. Okay, so we'll just go land. Play Wedding Announcement as a extra damage. Okay, cool. All right, we're gonna keep a shitty hand. I'm gonna see just how good Seamkin is here. This is a pretty bad hand though, all things considered. No white mana, no 1-drop. Seamkin a little too necessary. Ooh, okay. Well, we do have 2 Chain of the Rocks against mono green, so this may end up pretty good. And they didn't play Elf on 1, which is always great. You don't like Monastery Mentor? I like Mentor quite a bit in the in a different build. All right, so now we just need to hit a white source in the top 3 because we have an Impulse Draw, another Oath. What they find? I didn't even look. An Elf. Okay. I don't know if I'm gonna use a chain on an elf, but I definitely won't now. All right, maybe I will just for slow them. Oh, now I definitely will just to slow them down if I hit it. We're like pretty close to doing cool Steamkin stuff next turn. Dang it! This has been a relatively weak showing for the deck in this draw, but I did keep a loose hand, hoping that the reckless draw would get me out of it, but it hasn't yet. Would Bushwhacker be good in this shell? I think you want way more token generators to make Bushwhacker good. I do think Bushwhacker is freaking ridiculous in some of the other iterations of the deck. Like the Boros Convoke deck, Reckless Bushwhacker is obviously incredible there. Here, though, like you just don't have enough creatures to leverage it. We're more about doing the Bushwhackers or the impulse stuff, right? All right, let's see if we can have a cool turn. I need to draw any lands to be able to have a great turn. We got 3 more looks at it. Well, I don't think Convoke's making that big of a comeback, though. I did see them pop to like in the top 10 on Goldfish, so maybe. I haven't played against it too much. I would worry about Sack. I would worry about Green. I'd worry about Rakdos. Worry about Blue Eyed Spirits. Big Monkey says, Tainted comment on YouTube, but didn't see a response. What's up with people running at Mana Confluence in the red-white Convoke decks? It's a red-white dual land that enters untapped and can cast Burning Tree. I think you should play Pathway in the Giganta builds, and I think you should play Mana Confluence in the Burning Tree builds. All right, need a land. Pretty bad. I want to throw up. I want to throw up. I mean, 2 land and 14. That's pretty bad. I don't know, man. Whatever. Now, I mean, we just threw, you know, this is the bad side of variance on this one, right? Raspin with 18 months says your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries. All right, I think I'm just gonna concede. We're so far behind that it just doesn't matter. I'm a little tilted, honestly, but you know, I don't think this matchup is too bad. Deck and Stone's coming in, right end's coming in. I like to side out Kumano in these matchups because they gum up the ground pretty easily. We will keep, but I don't love it. But we do have Elf Chucks on 1 and a 2-drop. And Showdown is just nuts on the play. Never thought I'd hear Todd listen 21. I have a lot of 21 on my playlist. I actually have a lot of rap music on my playlist, trap music, hip hop, a little bit of old school funk shit too. Yeah, Big Monkey. If you want to play Phoenix, like I said, go ahead. My personal experience with Phoenix is pretty weak though. I don't think Gigantha is going to do more than just playing the Swiss Spear here, even though it's a way better use of my mana. I just want to go ahead and get more pressure down for next turn Showdown and the turn after Showdown. So they have this turn, and I'm going to play Showdown, and then they have one more turn. Oh wow, they didn't have a land. That's so sick for me. All right, let's Showdown. And now, next turn, we're just going to go off. Chain, another Showdown. Okay. So next turn, we'll go Chain plus Land plus Showdown. Even found a mountain for Chain. We had one anyway. I probably should have played this over the Battlefield Forge in case we didn't hit. That way I could play as many lands from Exile as I needed to or wanted to. Why is it called trap music? I'm not really sure, honestly. I think it's just an iteration of rap music that involves a lot of, I don't want to say like the drug industry or whatever, but to me that's what it feels like. The trap is like the ghetto. It's the place where you start, like it's the place that's hard to get out of. That's what I feel like it's, I don't want to speak for other people or whatever, but that's just my take on it. All right, they might have Beseju. Play Showdown. I'm gonna just pump the flyer, I think. Oh, thanks, Big Monkey. It's just a play on words, right? It's just rap music, but with different incentives or like different roots. Can be played until the end turn, or it's just like someone taking. It's like the same as mumble rap. It just or whatever. It just like got a name or a bigger following or whatever. All right, bang on this thing. If they have it, they have it. They don't have it. All right, good. Get wrecked, son. Next turn is just all craziness. Do you think there's a better Treasure Cruise deck? I think Phoenix is easily the best Treasure Cruise deck. None of the other ones go nearly as hard trying to make Cruise a thing. So I can Ratchet Bomb my tokens. That's fine. I'll just start pumping these instead. They have to tap this, so I'll just play like, Swift Spear, Chain of the Rocks, attack you, blah, 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 GG. If they were able to put a counter on this and untap it and then blow it for 1, they would get Old Growth Troll back, kill this, but it still is like not even that good. Opponent is dead to Showdown exiled. The second Showdown is always so sick too because it's double counters on this turn. But I mean, really, the game ended last turn, right? When I did my big turn. All right, so we're gonna go for the kill. Obviously, I will put 2 counters on the Swiss Spear. We'll go for a chain on the elf. Blah blah blah. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yada yada. GG. All right, so this is 10. They're tapped out, so we'll just attack. Yeah, the thing about Showdown, the thing about all the reckless draws is that they all chain into each other, right? And so there's basically no reason um, to like play expensive cards because all you want is to play card draw into cheap card. All right, so 4 a 10. We could have dealt more. We could have played this. All right. I think we're just cool with this. I might want the string on the draw to have one more answer to Elf. If we do that, what do we want to trim? Maybe a Rydane? Maybe we can trim one of our Rinse Resolve thingies on the draw. Yeah, I also don't really like the One Ring meta. I don't know if I want to chain the Elf or not. I kind of want to because I'm just behind. Like under the gun. This will just like slow them down so much. Any thoughts on why Rydane? Yeah, so Rydane, you know, this deck hits our land drops pretty easily. Like the third land drop is a pretty easy one to hit. And I think Rydane is really good against their top end, and their top end in this deck is really the only thing I'm scared of at all. The elves are like okay, but using chains and Dex and Stone and stuff to clear the creatures is nice, but it's like their combo turns that kill you. Like you use your removal to make sure that the combo turns aren't that impactful. But Rydane is just like another thing that's pretty easy to bring in, and I really don't like Kumano, so I like trying to get them all out of the deck. All right, so we'll go for I guess Steamkin first. Rinse Resolve lets me put a lot of pressure on Kiora and hit my land drop though. So this could be a game where I just ignore Steamkin because we didn't play it on turn 2. I think that's fine too, and I think that recognizing those moments is important. So advantage. I'm not going to burn a chain just to get a thing. I will pressure the Kiora though, because now if they play like a 5-drop, I just go chain it, attack Kiora. You know, we can get Runaway Steamkin down as well. I guess I could go Deck and Stone instead of chain to make sure that I don't lose to like a Beseiju or something. And then with Steamkin already in play, stuff like Showdown gets a bit better. Well, Sneaker, just come play some Pioneer with us, baby. It's all right. Although I will be playing some more Modern coming up soon for RCQ season, so don't get too comfortable. We'll probably watch the Pro Tour on stream as well. Seems like a fun thing to do. All right, so they got Storm the Festival in the graveyard. They found another Kiora. All right, so let's go Steamkin. This thingy. All right, chain that thing. Let's go kill the Kiora, hit him for 2. And then they'll have to play another Kiora. We'll just start over killing that. We have Deck and Stone to clear out a blocker, like Old Growth Troll or Pelucranos. Lockdown is just like not played very much, which is good news for us, but it's still good. All right, so we're gonna Showdown. They didn't. If they had a 3-drop, they would have played. They would have tapped differently. Maybe they do have the 3-drop and they messed up, but they just have to like burn a loyalty to play it. But looks like we're just gonna get to go for Showdown this turn. Oh man, we can go crazy. All right, let's go. Let's try to go crazy. Let's do the fun Steamkin turn. I think Showdown is a better play because it's like guaranteed. Because if we just hit like land white spell or land, my turn gets kaputzed. We'll go for the Showdown next turn. I could have played Mountain first, so I could play Showdown this turn. But I wanted to get the token off of Pia. Okay, are they going to Beseiju me for the Cavalier? And if so, how do I play around it? Do we just attack everything? If we attack everything at the Kiora, it'll die through the Beseiju. Wow. Did I might have just fucking killed myself. I shouldn't have gone for the Pia. I should have gone land, activate Steamkin, Showdown. Maybe I just ignore Kiora and go face. Hold back Steamkin. I mean, I don't know. It's so if they don't have it, it's such a waste. If they don't have the Beseiju. If we play around Beseiju, their last 2 cards in hand have to be something stupid, right? Has to be like Karn and another thing, maybe a land. Because if they had Storm, they would have definitely cast Storm instead. What if I don't attack? How fucking sicko is that? If I send, let's see, if I send with, let's just send everything face that's not Steamkin, and I'll just try to combo kill him next turn. This plays around both a bit. It feels so weird to not attack with the Steamkin here, but It is what it is. Not attacking is unhinged. I agree, but who's got the chips? Now we can post combat showdown at least, or deck and stone, or both. All right, how do we die here? I think I just deck and stone this. We can go 3 and a white, get this, but we don't have white to play chain or anything. I can just let them have one combo turn, and I might be able to kill them through it. I think that this is just best. It's like maybe the softest. This is like maybe the softest turn I've ever played in my whole life, right? Just like playing as scared as humanly possible. But I think you kind of have to do that against mono green sometimes. All right, here's Troll. We might die anyway. We definitely would have died if we didn't play the deck and stone. Troll plus Nykthos activation plus activate again would have been ridiculous. Another Troll. So they can untap. So they can still go crazy. That's so sickening, man. So strong. All right, so it looks like they don't have enough to do the storm out of the graveyard. They're one short. They can draw a card off a clue. They can activate Lair Hydra. They can play stuff from hand. Karn plus a 5-drop. Storm from hand, disgusting. What a turn. Look, this is why people hate mono green though, right? Because like they started with Kiora, Nissa, lands, and now they're just generating up to like 50 mana or whatever. And I think I'm dead. I think Karn here is just gonna kill me. I don't even know what they're gonna get. If all they have to get is Cityscape Leveler and kill this, and I lose. You think Nykthos is gone in a month? There's no way Nykthos is gone in a month. They're never gonna ban Nykthos, I don't think. They made it a promo last year. So they went for Sky Sovereign. So they're gonna kill Pia. Okay. Maybe they don't have Leveler in their sideboard, huh? I mean, look, I personally don't think Karn or Nykthos should be legal in the format, but I just am talking about, reality or whatever. The reality of the situation is it's probably not going anywhere. All right, so let's start with this. Start with this. And now we might just kill them this turn. The second Steamkin's a really cool draw. It might show y'all exactly what we can do. Worst case scenario, we'll probably be able to cast Gigantha. The last time I did this with 2 Steamkins in play, though, I played 20 cards off the top of my deck. See if we can do it again. Pretty close. Pretty close. All right, so Soulscar doesn't do anything this turn. The Showdown does, but we can do that off the next play. So let's go Strangle Karn. And that'll give me 3 mana. And then that lets me play another Showdown. And then that gives me 3 mana from this Steamkin. I have Soulscar to play too, which can give me 2 more counters. All right, we did not hit well off of the second Showdown. So what do? We can make 3 mana, buy Gigantha, play like lands, and then next turn try to kill them with Showdown ticks. We can play Soulscar. Let's see, we can make 3 mana. We can play Swiftspear Soulscar, get both these juiced up. But then next turn's pretty bad. So why don't I just go... This is going to attack next turn, maybe? I guess if it does. Attacking's bad, because they can just crew Sky Sovereign to block. I guess I can play with fire to shrink it. I can play a land, play Swiftspear attack if they block, go for a shock somewhere along the way. It just doesn't seem that good. They're 12. I guess the trolls are just in double block mode. Maybe they double block one. Okay. Well, no. So 1 mana floating. We can make 5 mana. Let's see. So we make 4 mana, play with fire down to 3 mana. This gives us 6, 7, 8. So we can buy and play Gigantha. We're not really stopping their combo stuff next turn, even through blocks. So maybe we just buy Gigantha and pass. And then, but like next turn's not very good either. We're probably going to upkeep Play with Fire, looking for a chain effect. Sorry, this is just really hard. Oh, we played a land. I just did. So we can buy and play Gigantha if we Play with Fire them. I think I'll just do that, and then probably attack with a bunch of 5/5s or whatever. I just think I'm gonna get Storm the Festival out of the game next turn, no matter what I do. So it just doesn't matter too much. I don't think I could kill this turn because my second showdown was pretty bad. I've been doing that a lot lately with the Steamkins, just like playing Gigantha for very cheaply. All right, so now the question is, do I attack, and do I attack with everybody? I think the answer is yes. I attack everybody at base. So I go block here, take 3, 4, 5, 6 down to 4. There might have been a way for me to find a kill. I'm not sure. It's a very complicated turn. All right, so they get to go put them on some forests, go to 4, and then cross my fingers, hope I don't die. All right, here comes Nykthos for 9. They also have a lot of equity from the old growth troll sacking to draw cards, but they lose a lot of their devotion if they do that. Karn with 12, I think, is a GG. I think with Chain Veil, I think they're just golden, right? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna concede. Save some time. Using it as like a protection spell is just like not a viable strat, I don't think, personally. All right, another one of these guys, huh? Top card. I don't know if I can afford to play Rinse Resolve here. I think I'm just gonna go play with Fire Attack. It's a little awkward because it just doesn't use my mana that well, but I have to constrict their turn 2. I can't let them play 3-drop on 2. Puts me too far behind. Oath into land or Oath into land elf. Still pretty decent turn for them. If they don't have elf, that's great news. All right, if we hit a land, we'll play it. And the Soul Scar. Nice. And we got Chained to the Rock, so if they do play a creature next turn, we have it covered. If not, we get to just bash them for a bunch. My guess is they won't play a creature, though. All right, so we'll go for Rend Resolve number 2. Get some buffs going. We'll go Swift Spear. I'll just play the Chain to the Rocks to get some prowess damage. It was going to go away at the end of turn anyway, so might as well get our damage in while we can, right? Man, flooding out pretty bad here, unfortunately. I had 20 lands in my initial build when I went 4-1, and I decided to add another lands. I haven't really flooded too much, and my mulligans have reduced significantly. All right, opponent is hitting things like Clockwork here. Old Growth Troll. They're going to play another Nykthos then, huh? Instead of Cavalier? Guess not. Weird. Weird. Yeah, the original guy was playing a nice build with Magmatic Channeler and what's it called? Wizard's Lightning. Chain's great. And then this is lethal. Face for 8. The face is the place. The face is great. Strangle, Deck and Stone on the draw. Couple Rydanes maybe. Gonna cut the Kamanos. All right, really good opener here. We'll lead off with Sacred Foundry. I'm definitely not going to chain an elf. Well, I say definitely. If they like mold a 5, my chain an elf. Kept 7 though. Oath of Nissa, that's always good. One of the reasons why Raiden is not great in this matchup is that some of their biggest payoffs are creatures, and Raiden only hurts non-creatures. So I do kind of want to Raiden next turn, so I think I am going to go ahead and Chain to the Rocks here on the elf. This is a little bit against what I was saying earlier. But because of my hand, the way I'm going to be sequencing the next 2 turns after this is going to be Raiden into Showdown no matter what. I think I just want to chain the elf now. I can't take the time off next turn. That's so good for me. And no Kiora too. All coming up Millhouse, baby. Alright, so this will make their Karns a lot worse. This will make their 6-drop thing a bit worse as well. They could Besage in my land and get back Elf to like ramp them kinda. And that makes our Showdown much better next turn. I think I'll play this on white next turn. Oh wow. Okay, so they're just dead. That's fine. Let's go Showdown instead of Steamkin. Basically, if you can ever play Showdown when your opponent has no board presence, the game is essentially over. It's like so fucking hard for them to get back in the game after that because of all the buffs. All right, cool one. All right, so we're gonna go Runaway off Exile first. We're gonna buff the. I think I'm just gonna buff Raiden a bunch, make it so it doesn't die to Sky Sovereign or whatever. Steamkin. We could put a counter on Steamkin, and then I don't think that's necessary though. Like, I just don't think we want to or need to attack into the troll, so it's better, I think, just to get this juiced up. Cool. Yeah, if you're interested in the Magmatic Channeler version, make sure to check out the tweet that Salty just posted to. Salty's been doing a ton of work on the deck, so. All right, Cavalier of Thorns. All right, so they have 3 blockers, so 1, 2, 3. So I gotta find a way for my 2 Prowse creatures to kill them. That might do it. So Steamkin, put a counter here. Because they have these 3 covered, so we just need to make sure that this is 7. This is 2, 3, and then this is. So I guess I can go Strangle the Cavalier, attack with everything, and then they have to block here. And then the 2 Cavaliers trade here, and they take 6 down to 1. So we can we can make it a force block. I guess shrinking this. Maybe I shrink an Old Growth Troll instead, and then the Raiden's bounce. No, that's probably worse. We might die next turn. I don't think we had lethal here, so maybe I should have spread the counters out instead of putting everything on the Raiden. All right, so let's go Bayou. So this is the force block here, here, here. They take 6 down to 1. They can get back any of these out of the graveyard. They might not though, right? Someone link to that Twitter account. Garth, I am telling you it's okay. I've been following Nick for a few days. He's brand new to Twitter, and he has a Discord for the deck too. Like, we've been talking pretty consistently over the last few days. So, all right, they're 1. Let's see if they can kill me. With Nykthos, anything's possible. I do have 2 blockers for the lair. Raiden makes things cost a little extra, which is nice, but Nykthos pushes through the Raiden decently. So close, so close. Yeah, you too, Nick. Appreciate you, fam. All right, so they get another land, another card draw. They get to untap Nykthos and activates. I think I'm just gonna maybe cut the Raiden. Maybe Kamado is better just for early burst damage. Like, if I had Kamado in this draw instead of Raiden, I think things would have been slightly better. But they're casting Storm with only 4 floating, access to 6. Karn. Okay, well now with Cure, I think we're just dead to Chain Veil. That's unfortunate. I don't know what you need exactly to kill in this spot, but Chain Veil makes things easy. Well, it doesn't really exile them, Smoke. They need to be shrunk because all of our exile all of our removal already exiles or just barely shrinks it. And if you were playing like roast or whatever, I think the Kamanos can stay. All right, so they got back Pestilent Cauldron. I don't know if I'm dead. I think I am dead though. They got back Nykthos and Kiora. I think they already played a land though, but if they haven't played a land, then we're in trouble. Even if we get to untap now, there's no guarantee that we can win through all this. All right, now the Nykthos activate is 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14. And then the Cure can untap the Chain Veil. And Chain Veil lets Cure activate again. Let's Karn activate again. You're dead? I mean, I just want to see it. Yeah, and then I guess they go and get the Pestilent Cauldron again, and they just chain it off back to back. Yeah, okay. That's good enough. Want to make sure. All right, we'll keep this hand. Looks great. We have Steamkin on 2. There's a part of me that actually doesn't want to play Soulscar on 1 to more easily get Runaway Steamkin active. But I think we just play in such a way where we max damage first. Oh, sorry, Pizza. They're mono green. They did mono green combo shit. I'm sure you've seen it before. All right, if this is just Cure naked, we can probably kill it. Cure plus Oath, another elf. All right, let's go. All right, so I can go these. I can play both those next turn. We can't kill the Cure no matter what. Actually, we can. Kamano makes them chop block with elf, which they're not going to do. All right, let's just attack Cure with both. Oh, sorry, they're going to save. Okay, the Cure's going to go to 2. That's fine. Next turn we go Swiss Spear, Soulscar Chain, post combat by Gigantha, something like that. They get Cavalier, but it's like not that big of a deal. They get a draw card and get a land. Sorry, it's a big deal. Like this is a good sequence from them, but it's not something we could really stop no matter what was going to happen. All right, so let's go Swiss Spear. We'll go Chain on the Cavalier. We'll go Kiora, and then these can go face. And then post combat, we'll buy Gigantha, play Soulscar. All right, so they value the Cure over the elf, even though it only has 1 loyalty. Makes some sense. All right, so buy Gigantha, play Soulscar. Hopefully we draw any of our chain together spells next turn. All right, so they get to draw a couple cards. We can just play Gigantha as our baseline worst play. Damn. All right, so if we attack with everything, they go block here. They take 2, 4, 5. Not enough. So we're probably dead. We got mono greened a bunch. I don't think mono green's that bad of a matchup. I've beaten it every time I played it before today. Maybe just like cutting the Kamanos is just like a huge mistake because of how much pressure it applies early on. Maybe the Steamkins are worse than I thought in the matchup, but I think that they're good in the matchup because they allow for like some really ridiculous stuff later on. But I don't know. Maybe I should have been. Maybe I should have ignored Cure completely. Yeah, now we're just getting buried. It's gonna flip at the worst case scenario or whatever. Brutal. All right, I think we could probably make some changes and run it back, right? I do want to try some different builds too, like Springleaf Drum, Fire Impulse type stuff with Monster Mentor. Sounds like it can be fun. Okay. They got back Kiora and another Karn, so at 15 life, I need to draw exactly one of the Reckless spells, and I have to just chain Reckless spells like crazy. That's the only way I think I can win this game. Chaining Reckless spells like crazy. Ah, they even have Besage You? That's fine. Alright. So I get another card. I have a Clacker. I don't think it's consistent enough. I think Shroud and Blast is kind of dog shit 99% of the time anyway. Alright. Does Deckenstone get them? Maybe chaining stuff into Deckenstone gets them because it kills 2 of these. Well, if ever there was a time, we didn't die. That's good news. Whenever you're not dead, that's always good because that means you can keep going. So we're gonna probably activate Steamkin. Nice. All right, so let's go Swift Spear. We're doing it, Peter. Well, whatever happens, I'm attacking face with everything, and I'm hoping I draw a Deckenstone somewhere in here. But our Steamkin's almost all the way back up. Pia and Deckenstone? Wow, was that it? They have 2 blockers? I think we just killed them. Deckenstone, huh? Deckenstone, huh? I honestly can't believe we just won. 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15. I think we have 1 over damage. And we have mana left over forever. Oh, yeah. Is my opponent talking? Battle? That's a nice turn, chat. That's Runaway Steamkin right there, too. That 3 mana. What else can you ask for, you know? 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18. All right. A hard-fought 3-2. 1-1 against Mono Green and 0-1 against Karuga Fires. But overall, Runaway Steamkin felt pretty good. The alternate build of this had 4 Steamkin and only 20 lands, but I had a lot of 1-land openers. And adding the 21st land alleviated a lot of that pressure. I don't think I had a single 1-lander the entire time we played that league, right? In the opener anyway, that especially none that I kept. You know, I'm not sure what that says about the math or if that's just like me being results oriented or whatever. 20 lands might be the correct number, but 21 felt pretty good in that league. I didn't feel like I got mana screwed basically ever, and I only got flooded like once or twice out of, you know, 15 games or something, 14 games. Cards that I am not sold on 100%. Kumano faces Kakazan in the main deck. Sideboard, I'm not sold on Wedding Announcement. I'm not sold on the Strangle or the Tormod's Crypts. I think all those can probably be moved around for other things to help out in matchups that you think you're losing. Kumano and Steamkin can become 7 of any cards that are aggressive that you want. I don't really know if you need to do too much more than that. But Kumano obviously very good with the Prowess creatures. Maybe Steamkins would be better as just like Wild Slash, you know, just like more interaction. And then maybe we can go down to 20 lands because we have fewer 2-drops. And maybe 2. So if right now, if we cut these 4, right, we could do 2 Spikefield Hazard and 2 Wild Slash to give us some more burn, which can close out games, pump our Swiss Spears, gives us a few more things to do. But I really like the Steamkin in matchups where our opponent doesn't have removal. You know, I don't think that we really got to showcase the best Runaway Steamkins that I've seen or anything like that. I had some really sicko screenshots from the first league I played with the deck a few days ago, and I think Steamkin pulls its weight in those types of matchups, which is nice. But yeah, this has been Runaway Pia. Shout out to our sponsors, Brainstorm Brewery Podcast and Apex Gaming home stores in Caldwell, Ohio. Make sure to check out apexgaming.gg if you want to learn about their tournament series, and check out Brainstorm Brewery Podcast if you like slice of life magic podcasts. That's going to do it for this deck. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time. I'm Tandy. See you later.